So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 64554637228. And I used to think that I was smart. I don't really think that that is the case anymore. And I'll get to it in a moment. As usual, I am Earthling, yada yada yada. I got a scholarship a long time ago that gave me a 4-year tuition scholarship in a very small school, and got a couple of degrees. I've traveled a bit. I was in the reserves, Army Reserves, for a bit, and I take care of my uncle who has dementia. Before I forget, if you would just, you see that thumbs up icon? If you would just click on it, I would really appreciate it. It would help with the YouTube algorithm if you think that this might be a topic that might be interesting to you, or, you just want to be a nice person, I guess. You can always come back and, unlike it and go the opposite direction if you want. But anyway, so I used to think that I was smart. I guess the reason why I thought that was because people used to tell me that when I was in elementary school. I guess that was the time. I guess I did well in certain exams. It's not like I was some kind of a savant where I would just ace every single exam. I remember distinctly that I think in one exam I must have come 7th or something like that in the class. So it wasn't like I'm the king of the world forever. And definitely when I went to high school, that definitely changed. Any idea that I was intellectually above other people significantly in any shape or form, that kind of went away. At least in my mind. Now that I think about it, I think maybe one of the reasons why I was not anywhere close to being at the top of the class was because the classes were kind of ranked. So I guess I was especially so in a higher ranked class for my grade, let's say. So it's kind of like when you listen to people talk about the fact that they ended up at Harvard or something. This was not Harvard, the school that I went to, but it is considered to be a school that was up there, at least in the area where I lived. So if I told someone I went to this school, they might be like, oh, okay. But that's what happens, I guess, when you go to Harvard, per se, let's say, and then you go to one of the ranked classes in Harvard, and then you're like, well, I guess I'm not the highest of the high. So until this exact moment, actually, I hadn't really realized that in many markers, yeah, I guess I still would have been considered to be intelligent, but amongst the other people that I sat in class next to, I was not standing out at all. Anyway, I could probably go on like this for a while, right? I mean, after all, at the beginning of most videos, I say I have a couple of degrees and I got a scholarship. So, yeah, I guess conventionally speaking, I would be thought of by some people as being smart. But the whole point of the video is that I used to think that I was smart. And the reason why I don't think that I am smart is because I don't really believe in smart anymore as a thing. There's an idea of smart and an idea of being a genius and being capable of doing, it's what you grew up seeing on cartoons, right? There's this guy who can pick up anything easily, just like that. Or Sheldon on Big Bang Theory, where I recall one of the few episodes that I watched, he was like, yeah, I learned Bulgarian last night. No, you didn't. One absolutely did not. Maybe you learned a couple of words here and there, but not enough to read a paper and understand it. And that's the reason why he apparently picked up Bulgarian last night, because he needed to read some paper to do something. And of course, there's the episode where he starts doing everybody else's job, and he makes everybody else seem like simpletons, because I think there was one of his friends who was saying, yeah, he came to my office and he basically made my job obsolete in a couple of minutes. It's funny because it's ridiculous. It's not true. What smart people, and with respect to learning languages, it becomes an obsession, it becomes a habit. Those people who are polyglots that I've read about, they spend most of their days trying to hold on to the languages that they do know, and I guess learn more. And still, you're not going to make sense to someone who speaks the language fluently. Maybe you're going to have a couple sentences, then you're probably going to start mixing stuff up. I mean, beyond your primary language, because languages change as times pass. When you think of different subjects like medicine, you think of physics, chemistry, new knowledge is learnt every day. And if you are not constantly refreshing and learning what has been learnt and what has been disproved, then you're going to fall behind after a while. Maybe you might be able to still get the gist of it better than someone who's never studied it, but you're not going to be what we see on TV and in movies and books and the stories that we tell each other about people who grasp everything and know. No, it's not possible in a lifetime, probably in many lifetimes. And that's what I started to realize in my life, was that, yeah, I know a lot about certain things that have reached me. I don't know almost anything about Russian cuisine, or about mining, or about drilling for oil, or about putting up oil fires, or about any number of different topics. So what it is, it's that kind of effect where you go to the circus and you see somebody who has been refining a very, very unique skill for a very long time, and you are in awe of it. That's what might happen if people hear me talk about the subjects that I know about, you know? On the flip side, if you hear a very, very renowned scientist or intellectual speaking in another language, they sound like children, because they are not going to know the same kind of vocabulary as they would in their mother tongue. And they're not going to know the very best grammar. And they're not going to know, common phrases that people say, and the idioms and particulars of current modern day X, Y, or Z. So I realized that, again, whereas I know maybe a lot about physics, maybe a lot about chemistry, maybe a lot about, well, a lot, relatively speaking, compared to many other people, I suppose, I might not know a lot, as I said, about so many different things. So that it means that I am probably not that smart. No one is that smart, exactly. And to put the point home again, I mean, smarts beyond being able to understand all these different things so quickly. I think if there is any smart at all, it's the ability to understand how to look for the cheats. And I say cheats in such a way as, okay, well, you're actually cheating. No, maybe it's a shortcut, and there are different benefits to the shortcut. There are different benefits to the long path. So the shortcut can allow you to maybe the shortcut as a shortcut is what's really important to you about this particular topic. I think, what's this guy's name? I think Donald Glover, he has this point. Maybe he gets this point in a certain areas of his life. He gets this point. Or, yeah. He told a story in one of the interviews. I don't think he's going to give too many more interviews after that. Or maybe I just haven't looked. But there was an interview where he realized, where he was expressing the fact that he understood that when you're in a new realm, a new subject matter, you have to look for what's important and focus in on that. So he talked about the fact that when he was a kid, he was on the basketball team, and one day he thought, hey, let me focus on not dunking, but what would you call it? Shooting. So he focused one evening, I think maybe it was just in one evening. He spent hours and hours and hours practicing shooting. And the next day, he looked amazing because his skills at shooting had improved so much. And he probably never dunked in his life. He probably could not get by people, Maybe he could probably never get rebounds. But that one skill, shooting, made him look really, really good. And I think he mentioned that he adopted that idea in a lot of different parts of his life. So he was into comedy. Maybe he looked for what was the essence of comedy, and he tried to use that. I personally don't. The comedy that I've seen of him, I don't really enjoy it that much. Maybe he found an essence, but it wasn't exactly to my taste per se. With respect to rap and hip hop, maybe he realized, and it seems to me, in This Is America, that you just don't tell people what the meaning of your song is. I don't know that This Is America has a lot of rhymes in it per se. It just has a lot of what? And because of that, I don't know a lot of his other music. I don't even know that it qualifies as hip hop or rap or whatever it is. But he found something, a hook, that works really well for that. But I think that if there is any smart, like I said, it basically comes down to patience and more patience and looking for shortcuts. Figuring out how to prioritize what you have to prioritize about what it is that you want to learn, or what it is that you want to achieve, or what it is that you want to do. Having the patience to realize that you're not going to see results for a while and keeping at it. I mean, sometimes I gain a couple of pounds, and, well, not that I gain a couple of pounds, I just stop monitoring my weight. Like if I go on vacation or something for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, I might just stop monitoring my weight. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to weigh stuff. Maybe I'll just estimate, and I'm not going to stuff myself. And then when I come back and I need to lose those 20 pounds or 10 pounds, what I do is I understand that it's not going to happen in a week. It might take months for me to get back to normal weight. And yeah, that's okay. And I stick with the program that I know works. And if I have something that I need to do, for example, I will look for that shortcut. I might spend an hour or 2 hours or however long it takes Googling and Googling and Googling and searching and searching and searching until I find the cheat, until I find the shortcut. And then I can do something that maybe I never even thought that I could do. But a lot of the time in my life, and I suppose all through my life, I'm not discovering things. I'm not grasping things. I'm just looking for the recipe and following the instructions. There was a guy I was in university with, and he was supposed to cook so well. And he said, I'm not this cook that knows a lot of stuff and tries out. No, I know, or I look at recipes and I just follow all the steps in the recipes. And it comes out however it comes out good. And people think that I can cook. I'm just following the recipe. So I think that's it. I'm not smart. I'm just looking for the best recipe that I can find and following every step in the recipe. And that's my particular life cheat, if there's anything. If you see me and you know, I mean, the only other cheat that I can think of is patience. Like I said, sometimes it takes a long time to find the recipe that you need. And sometimes, very, very rarely, when you can't find a recipe that somebody else did, you do have to make up your own. But the recipe to finding that recipe is taking a long time, staring at that thing that you don't understand until magically you do. And I think everybody can do that. Everybody can be smart. They just have to follow the recipe for finding the recipe. Either you take a long time looking for a recipe that somebody else wrote, or you just take a long time trying to figure out what the actual recipe is. And that's it for me. Feel free to, and please actually, like, share, subscribe, comment, give any of that YouTube feedback that we can do. Please keep in mind what you might like if this were your YouTube content. Have a good one. Peace.